December 1st, 1948. Somerton Beach, Australia. A man is found dead in the sand. He's leaning against the sea wall, dressed in a clean, pressed suit, his legs crossed, a half-smoked cigarette resting on his collar, as if it simply slipped from his lips. He has no wallet, no ID. The labels have been cut from his clothes. His face matches no missing person police can find. For more than 70 years, he had no name. No cause of death anyone could prove. And in his pocket, a scrap of paper bearing 2 words in Persian that would launch one of the strangest mysteries in criminal history. This is the case of the Somerton man. The morning he was found, people had actually noticed him the evening before. A couple walking the beach saw a well-dressed man lying in the same spot the night prior. They watched him raise his arm, then let it drop. They assumed he was drunk or asleep. He was dying. If unresolved files like this pull you in, stay with this one, because every clue only makes the silence louder. When police examined the body, the strangeness began immediately. The man was healthy, athletic, in his 40s, but there was no obvious cause of death, no wound, no sign of struggle. The autopsy deepened the mystery. His organs were congested with blood. His spleen was enormously enlarged. The pathologist was convinced he'd been poisoned, likely something that breaks down and vanishes from the body, leaving no trace. Convinced it was poisoning, but unable to prove whether it was murder, suicide, or something else. That contradiction has haunted the case ever since. Then they searched his belongings and realized someone, perhaps the man himself, had gone to trouble to make him harder to identify, even in death. The labels on his clothing had been deliberately cut away. In a locker at Adelaide's railway station, police found a suitcase they believed was his. Inside, more clothes, with the name tags removed. But whoever erased him made one mistake. On a few items, a name survived, or part of one. The word Keen, or Kian, stitched into the fabric. Police chased it across the world. They could not find a single missing person matching the body, under that name or any other. It was as if the man had been assembled to be untraceable. A healthy man, dead with no cause. A body stripped of every label. In 1948, with the war freshly over and the Cold War beginning, the obvious word started to circulate. Spy. Months into the dead end, a pathologist looked again and found a hidden pocket sewn into the man's trousers. Inside was a tightly rolled scrap of paper. On it, 2 words printed in an ornate font. Tamám Shud. It's Persian. It means ended or finished. It comes from the final page of a famous book of poetry, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a collection obsessed with living fully because death comes for everyone. Police now needed the exact book the scrap was torn from. They appealed to the public, and astonishingly, a man came forward. He'd found a rare copy of the Rubaiyat tossed into the back seat of his unlocked car, parked near Somerton Beach around the time of the death. The torn corner matched perfectly. This was the book. And inside it, the mystery exploded. In the back of that book, scrawled faintly in pencil, were 2 things. The first, 5 lines of seemingly random capital letters. A code. To this day, no one has definitively cracked it. Cryptographers, intelligence agencies, amateurs for decades, and the letters still guard their secret. The second, a telephone number. That number led police to a young woman who lived just a few hundred meters from where the body was found. A nurse. When they showed her a plaster cast of the dead man's face, her reaction was strange. Witnesses said she looked as though she might faint, as though she recognized him. But she said nothing. She denied knowing him, and she took whatever she knew to her grave. For over 70 years, the Somerton man had no name. He was buried under a headstone that simply read, "The Unknown Man." Then, in 2022, an Australian researcher and a forensic genealogist did what 1948 never could. Using hairs preserved from the original plaster cast, they built a DNA profile and traced it through genealogy databases. They announced a name. Carl Charles Webb, an electrical engineer and instrument maker, born in Melbourne. A man who had, quietly, dropped out of his own life. The identification still awaits full official confirmation. But for the first time, the man on the beach may finally have a name. And yet, naming him solved almost nothing. Because here is what we still don't know. We don't know how Carl Webb died, murder or his own hand. We don't know why his labels were cut away or who erased him. We don't know what the code means or whether anyone ever truly cracked it. And we don't know the one thing that has tantalized people for 3/4 of a century, the connection between a dead engineer and a nurse who lived a stone's throw from where he fell, who turned pale at his face and said nothing. A spy, a heartbreak, a poison with no trace, or just a sad, ordinary man who walked to the sea to end things. The Somerton man finally has a name on his grave, but the case isn't closed, it's just quiet. And some files, no matter how long they sit in the dark, never truly go cold. Somewhere, a file is still open. Subscribe next time we reopen another one.